Hello, beloveds. Happy holidays. Happy full moon. About a day late, but we're still very much in this strong moon energy, and grateful to be here in this space. I'm just going ahead to drop in and to call forth the wisdom and the intelligence of the energy of this full moon. I'm asking for transmissions of healing, of enlightenment, and messages that will serve those who receive this in using this energy to fulfill their highest destiny. And so it is. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you now, because I ask at the end of the videos and that's not helping my algorithm. So if you find that these videos are helpful, if you find this video resonates for you, please like and share. Subscribe if you want more. Well, I would love to see that as many people as I see watch. I would love to see also some likes so that we can improve the algorithms. All right, so full moon in Cancer. I would love to hear how everybody else has been experiencing this energy. It's been very light and fluid, just like the water, and Cancer being a water sign. Also very expansive in the heart and in our feelings and emotions. Full moons tend to expand our emotions anyway, but I have found that with the Cancer full moons, people can be like uber emotional. For me though, it's been in a more grounded way, I would say. And it's also a sign of nurturing and of home and of children, and it's like a homebody sign. And I have a whole new deck here that I get to work with today that my beloved gave me. It's a Pluto Oracle deck, so I'm looking forward to incorporating that also into our readings. So let's go ahead and pull the energy for this moon as we close out the year. It's the last full moon of the year, which feels really supportive as we start to reflect. We've moved into winter and we're ending the Gregorian year according to the Gregorian calendar. So there's a lot of looking back and kind of analyzing how have we spent this year? Where has our energy gone? What has been fruitful? What has not yielded fruit? Maybe what still needs to be nurtured, what still needs to be supported and watered, and what needs to go as we're in the phase of releasing to make space. And in order to release at this time of the year, we also have to really acknowledge the things that serve as fertilizer for the next creative cycle, the things that maybe were difficult, the things that there's still emotions to process around, or even like places where we may feel could be jaded, we could feel some anger, we could feel some resentment. And those might be some places to work on until we reach the point of gratitude, so that we can, or at least understanding, trying to understand how these things are supporting the next thing to come, as these are all layers building upon one another. So the first card that I pulled is from the Shaman's Oracle deck, and it's the Journey. And on this picture, I'll show you in just a moment, it has the shaman and he's got the owl. And the owl represents night vision, the ability to see clearly and to see through the darkness as we are moving through this winter, this cycle of decomposing. The journey is an invitation to step outside the boundaries of your life as you know it. The journey is not a holiday. It is a call to be hermit-like and to go on a pilgrimage into the unknown. There are no maps to the territory you will be exploring, no marked paths, roads, or signs. The time to embark on the great journey is here. Do not linger in the port when distant shores are calling. Fearlessly draw your own navigational charts as you discover the routes. When the time is right, as it is now, you will be led true, even when you are not sure of where you are going. It is the departure that is most important. The journey is calling you. Collecting postcards or fantasies of where you want to go may take over your focus and make you miss your destiny. There are things that must be completed first, or you may still be attached to knowing the destination. Remember, the point of the journey is not the destination. It's who you will become as you are transformed along the way. Do not confuse the inner and the outer journey. The hero's journey. That's what I am hearing in this. And I'm curious, how does this speak to you? Do you know what this is referring to? I do know many people who are in shifting careers, in shifting from their homes, and really quite big aspects of their life. I pulled the snake card and the penguin card. And this is from the new Oracle deck, so I'm going to have to take a moment to read this. And then the silence card as well. So this card says love has already won. This to me feels like the action card, though it feels like it is non-action. The action is non-action. As it refers to this hibernation, this silence, the stilling within, allowing ourselves to get really, really still. And when you think about how plants or even any kind of life begins to take its form, there has to first be stillness. There has to be this almost pristine environment so that creation can come into form without any kind of conflict or any competition. And bear with me, this reference deck is not easy to find what I'm looking for in here. Nothing is actually in order. And you can see, even as I'm like doing this reading, it's much slower than the way that I typically do readings. I am definitely feeling this transition into the winter, into the hibernation and the slowing down, and trying to not overdo it. I'm curious, are you feeling that too? Are you allowing yourself to move into the more slow and rhythmical and even still moments during your day, or are you still kind of in the fast go and just not changing as much with the season? What's so interesting is that I actually do not even see the card here that I pulled, which is so fascinating to me, but I'm going to continue looking. And that may be reflective too in the reading, the fact that I'm not able to locate it here on this in this book. It's what's hidden. It's what we haven't yet seen. What has not fully been released. And as soon as I say that, I see it in here. The snake, it's awakening, it's healing, it's the divine feminine. And it's one of the oldest known symbols of the goddess. It has a powerful correspondence in the occult. And it's very rich in many cultures as having a lot of meaning around spirituality and awakening and the divine feminine. And just as a snake sheds its skin, it's a sign of growth. It's a sign of renewal. So you may be experiencing old beliefs or versions of yourself falling away now. Recognize that this is a necessary part of your healing journey. Often after we've undergone a profoundly difficult or painful time, we emerge on the other side feeling as though we are completely different. To fully embrace this new authentic version of yourself, it is necessary to let it fall away and let what must go and be complete integrate. Shed the dead weight and welcome in this healthier version of yourself. This may be a call to unite with your feminine side. And then we had the penguin, which is not an animal spirit that I have worked with. And the penguin represents close relationships, our family, social life. And it says that the penguin is all about family and loved ones and doing everything it can to provide for its close relationships. Penguins are almost never by themselves. And if you've pulled this card in your reading, it's time to reach out to your support system. This looks different for each of us, of course. It may include family, friends, lovers, and co-workers. Regardless of what your system looks like, something about the situation at hand requires you to reach out, spend time with those who bring you joy, peace, and healing. It's also possible that whatever you're going through directly involves your loved ones. If this is the case, it's time to weigh the importance of the relationship in your life. Do you want or even need this relationship to continue? And if the answer is yes, is this conflict doing more damage to the relationship than it's worth? We must learn to pick our battles wisely, regardless of how this may apply to you. So the card sitting in the middle, though, is the silence card from the Mary Magdalene deck. It says, I speak from my heart. So I'm curious, the holidays often can stir up conflict, maybe inner conflict, or maybe it was outer conflict. And there's some investigation here that's being presented as to how is it that we are meeting it? Are we meeting it with anger? Are we meeting it with love? Are we meeting it with fear? Are we meeting it at all? Are we disassociating? Are we internalizing? Are we projecting? What has been? Is there something currently right now that has to do with the dynamics in your life? And if you look to the place that you find yourself suffering the most, this might be where this applies. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a person. This could be with an establishment. It could be with a certain collection in society. It could be with any kind of, let's just say any kind of relationship. Any kind of relationship. It could be with your body, it could be with food, it could be with a number of things. The most important voice we could ever hear doesn't have a voice at all. The silence within the heart isn't devoid of sound or images. The silence within us is often deafening with the volume of its truth. The silence is often so confronting because it asks us to face what we already know. Silence is only a virtue when we're truthful about sharing word for word what we hear in our heart. It's never virtuous to hold back or silence a truth that lives inside us, no matter how the outside world might perceive it. It's not our work to judge a truth within us so critically that we never even express it. This ends up being one of the main regrets of the dying, that we didn't say out loud what was repeating itself already in the silent knowing of our heart. Silence is when we have overcome all those egoic powers that would have us believe we are anything other than love. Silence is being submerged in love. Silence is when all we hear is the steady stream of what the heart has to say. And joy is the courage to simply express it, word for word, saying only what the heart already knows. When the ego is silent, what do you hear in your heart to share? Not yet fully clear. So let's just keep pulling then. So I'm pulling from several decks here. So there's an indication to clean up your diet. I know for me, I'm always challenged at this time of year to commit to coming back to eating in the way that I typically do, because as one does when they travel and they go and visit family and they eat out and do things that maybe aren't of the norm, for me, I have to actually come back, because it's easier just to keep my momentum going in the way of trying eating out or doing things that I don't typically do. So the first card here is the eating of fresh organic fruits and vegetables to boost life force. And then following that is a card about presence. I call myself back from all times and places. So I feel, there's a lot of this that is activity from the holidays. And to me, it doesn't feel like maybe it's just that the mind and the emotions are caught up in some of the things that were experienced over the holidays, but maybe where you've left part of yourself over the year. Maybe there has been trauma or challenge, and you cut yourself off from yourself, or you stopped feeding that part of yourself, or stopped engaging or processing with that part of yourself. An invitation to invite it back in, and that taking care of your body by cleaning up your diet will probably support that. And then also from the future, making sure that as we're planning for the next year, we're not so involved in that planning that we're not fully present in the closing out process of this year. And while all of this can seem kind of solemn and serious, really engaging and enjoying this closing process, because it doesn't have to be all drab and sad. There can be a lot of peace and nourishment available, and even play. It feels that there's important developments in all lanes of relationships. So maybe engaging with people that help to support or rather hold the environment for you to be yourself and for you to feel joyful and to feel happy, especially if you've maybe had a more difficult time. Just to be with that part of yourself that doesn't take life so seriously. This card, there's implications about death, about the release, and death not being an end, but an irrevocable transition or transformation from being present in the body behind our eyes to being present in a place that's ultimately unknowable to the living. This translation of death also allows us to understand the way that the egoic self can cause a form of death by forcing us to exist elsewhere at different points throughout our lifetime. Be careful not to cast your presence into the future, clinging to what might be. So many of us live like this, ransoming our present joy until we reach some distant point when we have what we think we want. All it takes to be present again, all it takes to come back to this body, to this one ferociously precious life, to the potent moment, is 3 breaths. And this is both the easiest and hardest part about being human, because it takes becoming aware that we are no longer present, and that's the arduous part. It takes waking up again and again, fighting for our capacity to be here, to exist intensely. And for those of us with histories of trauma, the work is even more intense and the return is even more triumphant. What can you release to exist intensely in the present moment? Yeah, feels all like preparation to fully dive into the winter and to honor who we are, where we've been, what we're doing, what we've done, and to call all of that power back where it may still be residing in the past. This card, tying this together, I don't see this one very often. Blessings of Kumu, no good thing shall be withheld. The universe wants to express its creativity, healing, and brilliance through you. It does not want to be limited to repeating what has already been. Newness needs to burst through you into startling expressions of abundant life. You are guided into unknown territory, guided to go beyond that which you have known yourself and your world to be, so that something original and necessary can be brought to life. The universe knows all that you need so that you can best attain your destiny. All shall be provided for you. Expand your faith to allow for the greater working of spirit. Resources are coming to you now. If you have been in lack, limitation, or anxiety about such things happening, relax and substitute your stress for the absolute trust that the universe will provide all good things with generosity and grace. If you find this challenging, take it one step at a time, reprogramming your heart and mind into new habits of peaceful trust. It will feel much better to live like this. It is not foolishness, but wisdom that embraces such unconditional faith. And when you are a dreamer, a visionary, and a seer of the need for transformation in the world, it can be easy to feel intimidated to dismiss the possibility for radical change as unrealistic, to believe that the greatest of our visions are unattainable in the real world. However, many things the human mind once considered impossible are now part of our daily lives. The impossible becomes possible on a regular basis. Kumu is the Hawaiian term for teacher and source of wisdom. The universe is the great Kumu. When we trust in the universe, we come to understand certain truths, including the realization that we don't have to be limited to what we logically know. If we are willing to expand our faith, then that which we are capable of experiencing in harmony with the universe will expand also. Great support in this letting go. Yes, lend your energy to the things that are possible that you know in your heart are possible, even if you don't see them out in the world, even if others are not able to see it. It's important that you hold that within yourself. You hold that feeling, and that feeling is a transmission of wisdom. It is an inner knowing and a resonant force that co-creates it within the field that we live in. And so do not let those dreams and the visions of your heart be thwarted by what the mind says is not possible. So with this card that follows it, it is the card of obsidian in the Mayan deck. And obsidian it's very sharp, and it's also a protective black stone. Very, very hard. It represents the spirit of transformation and transmutation derived from the metamorphosis of the butterfly. She teaches you not to fear death and the process of life, death, resurrection. For this process of rebirth will bring you to higher levels of consciousness and inner strength. To become a butterfly, you must pass through all stages of growth. She shows you the path of the warrior, the woman who lives and dies and recreates herself. She is the protector of the mages and the wise woman. She teaches you to see what is invisible, to hear what is unsaid, and to see what is overlooked. Yeah. Here we go, guys, into the winter. I also hear like something about an obsidian mirror, really going into the deepest, darkest recesses of our fields, of our bodies, of the human collective. As everything that is offered in these readings are both personal and collective. Our last card bringing this all together is with the Work Your Light deck, and it says get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect to nature. As we're learning to surrender to the natural cycle, we're reminded of the safety of that through our connection with nature and with the earth. Getting your body connected to the earth is going to biologically support the processes of letting go, of dying, of whatever it is that is your transformational path through the winter, and particularly through this full moon. How is your relationship with nature? How is your relationship between the body, the mind, the emotions, and the natural world? Are you connected? Are you spending time outside? Are you honoring the earth? Are you learning to understand your impact with the earth? Are you an ally? Are there ways that you can be more of an ally? Are there ways that maybe over this last year you can look at how you've grown with that relationship? And then you can take into consideration where you want to go. Once you have assessed where you've been, it's a little bit easier to then set a trajectory for where you want to go. You have a better understanding of who you are, both your light and your dark. And as we're getting more deeply grounded, we drive our roots deeper into the earth. It becomes darker, quieter, colder. It becomes richer. The environment is more conducive for our healing. To ensure that you stay healthy and that your luminous field is clear and your inner well is full, ground yourself. If you're not grounded, it is all too easy to get swept up in other people's energy and mistake it for your own. Your boundaries can become blurred as you are absorbing the energies around you and struggling to define what is their stuff and what is yours. It is easy to get swept up in the high frequency energies that are swirling around the planet. The quickest and most effective way of clearing all of this from your field is to ground yourself by connecting with Pachamama, Mother Earth. As I review this whole reading, the implication is to really acknowledge your relationship with nature. Are you slowing down and adapting to the winter change? Are you staying at the same pace and therefore kind of forcing processes that are not supporting you, which may cause you to have healing crisis? It could cause you to have more challenging experiences. We must be willing to take that inner journey and start to go into deep reflection. And this might look like making sure that you're spending a little extra time reading, quiet, even sleeping, keeping it balanced with your social life, and looking at the relationships maybe that are strained, the relationships that need to be mended and tended to, and where have you held your tongue out of fear, and how can you speak from love? Calling yourself back from the future and from the past to be here, fully integrated as you move forward, as you move through the void and through the darkness, able to meet everything, every obstacle, every opportunity that comes to you, not from a fractured place, but fully integrated with all parts of your being and all of your power that you may be revoking from this past year and even further back. So that as you come through the spring as a new human, that you're bringing all of your gifts with you and you're not leaving unintegrated traumatized parts of yourself behind. Love has already won. That is the closing message. Love has already won. Speak from the silence of your heart, and no good thing shall be withheld. May this full moon bring you many blessings. I hope that it supports you with grace and ease, and that you find your rhythm with the winter. And I thank you for being here. Always would love to hear how you're doing. If you like this message, share if it feels share worthy. And until we meet again, keep it pure and stay simple. Pura vida.